The world of paranormal investigations is filled with eerie encounters, strange phenomena, and stories that defy all logic. Ghost hunters, psychics, and investigators dedicate their lives to uncovering the truth about the supernatural, but there are some things that even they wish had never been discovered. These are real-life cases that were so terrifying, so unexplainable, that paranormal investigators tried to bury them. From cases of possessions gone horribly wrong to ghosts that followed investigators home, these are 10 terrifying things paranormal investigators try to keep secret. Are you ready? Once you know these chilling secrets, you'll never look at the paranormal the same way again. 10. The ghost that followed an investigator home. Paranormal investigators are used to dealing with spirits at haunted locations. But what happens when the ghosts don't stay behind? In 2009, a well-known paranormal investigator was working at a reportedly haunted asylum. The place was infamous for the mistreatment of patients, and many died under horrific conditions. The investigator and his team conducted EVP sessions, electronic voice phenomena, where they captured whispers and chilling screams. But the real horror began after they left. For weeks, the investigator experienced strange occurrences at home. Objects moved on their own, disembodied voices whispered his name, and his dog refused to enter certain rooms. But the worst part, he began waking up in the middle of the night to find his bedroom door wide open, even though he always locked it before bed. After a priest performed a cleansing, the activity suddenly stopped. But to this day, the investigator refuses to talk about the full extent of what happened, as if he knows the spirit is still watching. 9. The possession that was too dangerous to film. Most possession cases are dismissed as mental illness or hysteria, but this one was so disturbing that even experienced investigators were shaken to their core. In 2014, a paranormal team was filming a documentary on a supposedly possessed woman. She had been experiencing violent outbursts, claiming that something was inside her. At first, investigators assumed it was a hoax until they saw it for themselves. During one of their sessions, the woman's body twisted unnaturally, and she began speaking in a voice that wasn't her own. A deep, guttural growl that no human vocal cords should be able to produce. The camera crew immediately stopped recording when she threw herself across the room without touching the ground. The footage was never released, and the team refuses to speak about it. But one investigator later admitted that they were afraid to show the world what they saw. 8. The whispering doll that moved on its own. Most people think haunted dolls are just movie tropes, but paranormal investigators know better. One of the most infamous cases involves a Victorian-era doll that was donated to a paranormal museum. The previous owner claimed the doll whispered to her at night, but investigators assumed it was just paranoia. That changed when the team set up cameras. The doll's head moved slightly on its own. Investigators heard soft giggles coming from inside its glass case. One night, the doll fell off the shelf by itself, even though it was in a locked display case. The museum staff refuses to talk about what they caught on camera, but visitors claim they can still hear whispers if they stand close enough to the case. 7. The town that disappeared overnight. There have been many stories of ghost towns, but one case is so terrifyingly mysterious that investigators tried to erase it from records. In 1959, a paranormal research team investigated a small mining town that had suddenly become deserted. The town's entire population, over 200 people, vanished without a trace. No bodies, no signs of struggle, nothing. The few remaining homes were filled with half-eaten meals, untouched clothes, and abandoned pets, as if the townspeople had suddenly vanished in the middle of their daily routines. To this day, no official explanation exists, but investigators who have visited the site claim to have seen figures lurking in the shadows, and some have experienced sudden nosebleeds, dizziness, and nausea, as if something doesn't want them there. 6. The EVP that warned investigators to get out. Electronic voice phenomena are some of the most chilling pieces of evidence in the paranormal world. But one recording was so disturbing that it was never made public. In 2017, a paranormal team was investigating an old abandoned hospital. When they played back their recordings, they captured something that made their blood run cold. A distorted voice could be heard whispering, "Get out, or die." Moments later, the investigator holding the recorder felt hands around his throat, as if something was choking him. The team left immediately. The recording was later analyzed by audio experts, who confirmed that the voice wasn't human. The original file was deleted, and the investigators refused to return to the site. 5. The shadow figure that watched an investigator sleep. Most ghost sightings happen in haunted places, but what if the entity follows you home? A paranormal investigator working on a poltergeist case began experiencing something terrifying. Every night, he would wake up feeling like he was being watched. His dog barked at an invisible presence in the corner of the room. Security cameras captured a tall, shadowy figure standing at the foot of his bed. The figure never moved, but it was always there, watching. After months of sleepless nights, the investigator quit ghost hunting entirely. He refuses to speak about what he saw, but his nightmares never stopped. 4. The haunted object that made people sick. Paranormal museums are filled with cursed objects, but one artifact was so dangerous that it had to be locked away permanently. A team was investigating a strange wooden box recovered from an old witch's grave. The moment they opened it, strange things started happening. Everyone in the room felt nauseous and dizzy. The temperature dropped by 20 degrees instantly. One investigator collapsed, claiming he felt hands squeezing his chest. The box was sealed and hidden, and no one has opened it since. But the investigators say that, even today, they can still hear faint knocking coming from inside. 3. The ghost that predicted a death. During an investigation in 2005, a team encountered something they wished they had never heard. While exploring an old church, an investigator recorded an EVP session. When they played it back, a voice whispered, "He's next." The team brushed it off, until one investigator died in a car accident 2 days later. After that, they destroyed the recording and never returned to the church. To this day, no one knows if the voice was warning them or threatening them. 2. The entity that spoke in ancient languages. One of the most terrifying possessions ever recorded involved a person speaking fluently in a language they never learned. A woman undergoing an exorcism suddenly began chanting in an ancient dialect of Latin, one so obscure that even scholars had trouble translating it. Investigators present during the session said the atmosphere felt thick and suffocating, and objects moved by themselves. One investigator later confessed that he could still hear the chants in his dreams. 1. The case that was too scary for TV. A major paranormal investigation show once filmed an episode in a notoriously haunted house, but the footage was never aired. The reason? Crew members were attacked by an unseen force, equipment mysteriously failed, and one person suffered a mental breakdown. To this day, the network refuses to release the footage. But those who were there claim something evil still resides in that house, waiting for its next victim. Some mysteries are meant to be solved, but others are too terrifying to uncover. Paranormal investigators dedicate their lives to seeking the truth, but sometimes the truth is more horrifying than they ever imagined. Ghosts that follow people home, objects that curse those who touch them, and voices that whisper warnings from beyond the grave. These stories prove that the paranormal is not just a game. So, the next time you hear about a haunted place, ask yourself, would you dare to investigate? Or is it safer to leave it unknown? If you enjoyed this dive into the darkest paranormal secrets, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more spine-chilling content. And remember, some things are watching, even when you think you're alone.